If you told me like 8 years ago that the WCA was removing clock, I wouldn't bat an eye. This event was not popular. I used to be good at it in like 2017, 2018. I was the 2018 Northeast champion. I didn't even practice. But no one did this event. Like, no one was good. And I just took advantage of that. But in 2026, hearing that clock is going to be removed, I'm surprised. Because it is a very popular event. It's actually crazy as someone who's been cubing for a long time, seeing how clock went from the event like no one cared about to like just exploding over the last few years, seeing huge advancements in hardware, in methods, like very suddenly. And it's like, I don't know why it took so long. For so long, clock, like nothing changed. I mean, I was using like a Rubik's Ram clock not that long ago, but it just exploded in popularity and it became an extremely popular and extremely competitive event that a lot of people are passionate about. And now it's being removed in a year. Now, I want to talk about this as someone who did not hop on that clock hype train. I am not, super passionate about clock, don't really practice clock. I mean, I'm not good at clock. If you've seen my recent results, please don't look them up. Even though, personally, I'm not a clock person, I've been really, upset about this news ever since I heard about it. It's only been a few hours since I've heard, and yeah, I just can't stop thinking about it. It just, I don't know, it just feels wrong. It feels like a bad decision, and that's why I want to talk about it. So let's go over the announcement. After careful consideration, the WCA board has decided to add FTO to the WCA's list of official events and remove clock. So FTO is being added. I mean, that's a whole nother thing. That's kind of expected, I would say. But clock being removed, yeah, I did not see that coming. FTO will be available for inclusion January 2nd, and clock will no longer be available following the World Championship 2027, which will be the last competition to hold the event. The WCA will continue to explore options for how other events are managed, particularly at championship competitions. Okay. Then they kind of talk about FTO. We're excited to add FTO, first new event since Scube. It's seen a high level of sustained interest. It's well aligned with the nature of other events. It can be smoothly integrated, blah, blah, blah. Again, not really talking about FTO. I think it's valid, though. I personally do not know how to solve it, so I probably should get on that. At the same time, we prepare to say goodbye to clock. Although clock has seen significant interest in recent years, it continues to be a relatively problematic event, as frequently highlighted by WCA volunteers and community members. Okay, I think significant is an understatement. I mean, this event went from, the least popular to, one of the most popular. It is nowhere near the least popular event. And it's not just that it's popular, it is so competitive. I mean, there's so many good people. It's just, like I said, the popularity has grown, the way people have improved, it's just been ridiculous. So I think just saying, significant interest is kind of an understatement. It continues to be a relatively problematic event. Interesting. Despite multiple changes to WCA regulations, clock remains highly prone to incidents. Running clock at competitions can be challenging as it is difficult to scramble correctly and requires the use of different procedures or equipment from other speed-solving events. Okay, 1. I don't think it is that difficult. It is not that difficult. Yes, it uses a different notation than, the basic notation, but other events do as well. Mega Binks does, Square One does. This clock is not that hard to scramble. It's actually very intuitive to learn how to scramble. It does not take that long. There's many other events that take longer to scramble. It's not that hard to check. There's 9 clocks on each side. That's 18 total, pieces that need to be checked. Again, that's still less, you would have to check to make than some other events. I mean, if you're thoroughly checking, a Mega Minx or a 7x7, that might take longer. I just don't think it's that hard. It requires the use of different procedures or equipment from other speed-solving events. Does it? I mean, you have the different covers, but those are also used for Square One. And also, with the pretty newly introduced regulations about the pins, you don't even really need to use the special clock covers anymore because it's okay if the clock, falls over. The clock can be lying flat on the table. So I don't really understand that at all. And also, having a different cube cover is, not that big of a deal. I really don't think it is that difficult to run. You just have to be a little careful to make sure it's scrambled correctly, and that's not really that different from anything else. Determining whether a clock is solved and seeing a competitor progress through a solve are not easily visible at a distance and substantially reduce the spectator appeal of the event, particularly a non-specialist audience. I don't know about y'all, but if I'm not like right by the competitor, I can't see anything no matter what event it is. Especially if it's like 2x2, skew pura, super fast event. If you're watching like top cubers at that event, I mean, they're doing it so fast, you can't really follow what they're doing. And again, big cubes, you can't really follow what people are doing too much either. I mean, people also solve under the table. You're gonna make a regulation saying you're not allowed to solve under the table so that so that the spectators can see? Like, I don't understand. And I also just don't think the WCA, I don't know why I said we, I'm not involved in this, should be catering to spectators at all. That makes no sense to me. I don't get that. I think you need to, the people who matter are the competitors. I actually enjoy watching clock. I think it's one of the most fun events to watch as someone who's not really like too invested, because it's, like I said, it's so competitive. It's so unpredictable. It's just really exciting to watch. And you don't need to, it's not about like seeing what they're doing during the solves. I'm not thinking about that. I'm just like watching them and then seeing what the time is. And that's what's so exciting because, again, of how fast the times are and how competitive it is. These issues stem from the fundamental differences between clock and the puzzles used in other events. Clock is highly dissimilar from these puzzles, and clock's existing recognition by the WCA arises from historical factors. Removing clock strengthens the WCA identity as being an organization for three-dimensional geometrical twisty puzzles and not other mechanical puzzles. I mean, I guess that last part is valid, even though I would argue that clock is actually a part of the WCA's identity, because it's been an event for a long time, and it's Rubik's puzzle. The fact that clock being different from other events is seen as a bad thing is crazy to me. I think that's actually what makes it good, is that it's different, because it's fun to do things that are different, and it kind of gets boring when everything is the same, and it's fun to mix things up a little. Okay, the survey. Recent volunteer and community surveys concerning the WCA's list of recognized events formed an input into decisions taken, although were only one of several factors considered. You can see a summary of these survey results here. They did link the survey. We know that the changes to this announcement will be disappointing for some, but consider these to be important strategic changes that strengthen the WCA's core identity and best set us up for future success. I mean, I don't know what any of that, okay. I don't really get any of that personally. The results of the survey did not align with this decision at all. People did not want an event removed. Okay, so +2 is the highest possible outcome, corresponding to strongly agree. -2 is the lowest possible outcome, corresponding to strongly disagree. So basically, the lower it is, the more disagree. Yeah, so based on what I'm seeing here, people, especially the community, did not want an event to be removed. And then in the last paragraph, they basically just soft launch removing 7x7 and 5-blind because they're very similar to 6x6 and 4-blind respectively, which is really interesting because in the survey, they asked people like what events they'd like to see added, and the WCA volunteers, actually, the event they would like to see added after FTO was Kilomix. So that's the whole announcement, and it just left me a little baffled because, like I said, it goes against the community feedback. The main reason for removing it seems to be that it's just a problematic event and it's difficult to scramble, and I'm like, it's really not that hard. You should be able to just scramble it correctly, especially at a major competition. Just because, you messed it up at Worlds Finals doesn't mean you need to, remove the whole event. Just be more careful. I mean, you already made one regulation to reduce incidents. Make another regulation to reduce incidents. Or do something. I mean, like I said, literally just be more careful and, check it. It's not that hard. So, obviously, clock is super popular. It's still getting removed. It's not like feet, where no one liked it and it got removed, and that was very understandable. It goes against community feedback. I'm just like, how does this benefit cubing? Because it seems like a lot of people are going to be mad. Because, like I said, it's popular. I think I've said that a million times. But there's also this passion, people really love clock. And I think it's because it is different from the other events. And people really love it. And, like I said, the advancements are so recent, it just feels like we're still in the midst of the excitement. You're also removing an event that's pretty easy to learn. I'd argue it's probably the easiest event to learn, just, the basic method, and you're replacing it with an event that's very difficult to learn. I mean, I don't know, like I said, I don't know how to solve FTO. I struggled learning it. I mean, now I'm gonna actually have to sit down and really lock in, but I found it really tricky. as someone who's like an all-rounder and, likes to solve lots of different types of puzzles, I found it tough, which is interesting because just like a few years ago, I feel like the WCA was really pushing to cater towards like new competitors, and this doesn't feel very like new competitor friendly because you're taking out a really like easy to learn newcomer friendly event and replacing it with something a lot more challenging. I just feel like this decision does not benefit the competitors. It doesn't benefit the competitors. I feel like it only benefits the WCA because now they don't have to be accountable for the, any incidents that happen. I really sympathize for the clock enjoyers out there, for the people who have put so much time and effort into this event and now it's just being taken away. Like I said, if it was a lack of popularity, if it was, if we're still at like 2018 levels of popularity, that'd be totally valid. It'd be totally understandable. But it is a completely different world for clock right now. And if you did like a referendum and said, with all like active cubers, should clock be removed? Yes, no. Most people would say no. People like this event. So the fact that it's being taken away, despite being popular, despite being super competitive, and it's still being taken away, it feels absurd, and I'm upset, and I don't even care, because it feels wrong. It doesn't feel fair, and yeah, I don't know. I feel really bad for you guys. I did come across like a petition. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to sign that. I mean, obviously we still do have a year of technically until it's removed, so maybe things could change. I don't know. Also, if you would like to use my comment section to rant or seethe or scream, please go ahead and do that. I'll be right there with you because I'm upset. Okay, this rant has gone on enough. I have ranted. Let me know your guys' opinions. I would love to hear. And yeah, everyone, let's appreciate clock while we still have it.